4:32, we are right on time. All right. Well, welcome everyone to the STAP Winter and Spring 2026 information session. My name is Marie Balalu. I think I remember meeting quite a bit of you and I see some familiar faces. If you can, if your time allows, please join us for the reception upstairs on the 5th floor. I have some pizza, sodas, and I've invited former staff participants who can tell you about their experience on these programs. I have a couple of students from the Paris 2024 Olympics coming. I have students who participated in the Morocco program last year coming. So if you have any questions and you want to talk to students directly, that would be an opportunity for that. So just quick housekeeping things. I am recording the session. We have a few students joining us online. So please keep your questions for the end and we'll address them all at once. Okay, so without further ado, I'll go ahead and get started. I've already introduced myself and I am joined here by our two faculty leaders this year, Lisa Narati, who's teaching the Milan 2026 Olympics, and Professor Romy Batia, who's teaching the Morocco program. So they'll tell you all you need to know about their programs with their own voices. So far, you've heard from me. So I'll pass it on to them to describe their program. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. My clicker. All right, so a quick introduction of my team. For those who don't know us, we are the Global and Experiential Education Office. We are located on the 5th floor of the building in Suite 551. We are a small but mighty team. We do quite a bit. We do graduate study abroad programs. We manage the ACE undergraduate programs. We have our hands and toes in pretty much anything that's study abroad international engagement programs. For those of you who are international grad students, you are familiar with my colleague, Elisa Boyer. For those of you who come by our office to say hi, you are the first person who greets you is Olivia Francis, our program associate. And then you'll also get to meet Madison and Emma, who are program assistants on our team. They're temporary, so they're not going to be here sometimes, but whenever you come, they'll be able to answer your question as well. The rest of the team, we're here 9 to 5:30 every day, Monday through Friday. Okay, great. Now it's working. All right, so quick overview of the agenda. I will tell you about STAPs in terms of the structure, what to expect, where can you go, how to apply. And then I'll turn it over to Professor Romy to introduce the program in Morocco. And then we'll go over to the presentation by Professor Narati about the Milan Olympics. And then I'll take it back to present on the partner-led programs that we have for grad students, and then just wrap it up with some final notes and then Q&A. And then we'll have the reception in the graduate student lounge at 5:30 p.m. Pointed over there. Oh, why study away? So why are these opportunities important? These types of programs expose you to new regions, new countries, new sectors, new ways of doing business, perhaps that you don't have exposure to as a student or as a professional. So this is a way to introduce you to a specific sector, to a specific region that you've perhaps never visited, but you've always had interest in. It gives you access to new topics of study, some special topics of study, especially those that are not quite frequently taught and offered at GW. It enhances your skills in things like leadership, strategic thinking, adaptability, flexibility, and many other skills that you acquire through experiential learning. It increases cultural competency and awareness because, again, you are in foreign environments. You are navigating the different cultures. You're navigating the business environments in these cultures. Huge networking opportunity with your faculty, with your peers, with students from all around the world, depending on which program you're participating in. It really allows you to also network with people on the ground, with stakeholders in different businesses and organizations that might be relevant to your experience. And you do all that while advancing in your degree plans, because these programs are pre-approved to count towards your DWSB electives. So you'll be able to earn academic credit towards your degree program, depending on how much space and what are the restrictions in your individual degree programs. What is short-term study away? What do we mean by short-term study away? These programs are academic off-campus, so they're elective courses. They're not vacation, they're pretty expensive for a vacation. There are two types of short-term programs. You can either have a faculty-led program or a partner-led program. I'll go over the distinction in the next slides. They're varying in terms of topic, structure, destination, and type. So you always want to make sure that you read everything that's given to you on the brochure. You speak with the faculty to be familiar with the structure. They're condensed in format. That means they don't last the whole semester. They're typically 6 to 8 weeks from start to finish. The faculty-led programs have some class sessions before you travel abroad. If you think about the number of contact hours, so these are the number of the time you spend in the classroom with your faculty, all GW classes will be at least 35 contact hours. That doesn't include the amount of time you work on research projects, presentations, and other class-related activities. They're short in duration in terms of your travel. They're typically about 7 to 10 days in country, depending on the program type and destination. They count towards your general elective credit. So those are the electives it counts towards. So for faculty-led programs, there will be one of these. For partner-led programs where students have the choice to count them, you have to pick amongst these. It can't be anything else. It can't be anything in C's, anything in the LA school at G&EE. It has to be a GWSP elective. And winter and spring travel typically does not interact or interfere with your schedule of classes, but you some programs are special. Some programs will have an overlap. Oh, yeah. Just a quick note for those of you joining online, please keep yourself on mute. All right. So, experiential learning environment. So these programs, you're not only learning from your faculty, again, you're learning from your peer, you're learning from the environment, you're networking. There's a lot of stakeholder engagement on the ground. So you want to take advantage of all of these opportunities while you're on the ground. All right, so faculty-led versus partner-led. Faculty-led programs, think of it as a GWSP course. You'll see a GWSP faculty, you'll be in the classroom with your GW peers. They're open to our graduate and undergraduate students from all across the university, so they're quite competitive. You'll get a letter grade, you'll count in your GPA, you'll have pre and post hybrid sessions. So you're basically expected to attend those sessions. In terms of finances, you'll have a 3-credit tuition charge to your bill, plus the GW program fee, or it will be listed as Global and Experiential Education fee for that term. And then you have your personal travel. That's your flight and whatever you want to do in country. If you want to shop, if you want to have some leisure travel afterwards, etc. Partner-led programs, on the other hand, are graduate. They're only open to our graduate GWSP students. So non-GWSP students cannot apply for these courses, and undergraduate students also are not eligible for those programs. They are credits only, so only the credits will transfer. It will not impact your GPA. So if you perform perhaps less on these programs, it will not negatively impact your GPA. Also, if you have straight A's, it won't increase your GPA. There are limited amount of spots because these are programs offered by our partner school to their entire network. They have over 300 partners, and we are one of them. So I can only nominate a few students to these programs. There's no pre or post travel, so the program kicks off when you arrive. It ends when you leave. In terms of finances, it's a 1.5 credit course. So 1.5 credit tuition plus the post-institution program fee and your personal travel expenses. Okay, I don't know where it's coming from, but everybody's muted on the Zoom. Okay, let's see. All right, a little bit more into the faculty-led structure. As I mentioned, they're taught by a GWSP faculty member. They are required in-person or hybrid classes for those who are online students. Required 6 to 7 nights in a given destination. Again, depending on the program, you'll see that the Milan program is a bit longer. Students are enrolled in a campus course, so it'll pop up in your Blackboard. You have access to the syllabus and all course materials through Blackboard. Logistics are arranged by G&EE, so I'll be basically booking your lodging. You're all staying at the same hotel. You have to stay at the same hotel together. We also arrange everything on the ground transportation, some of the meals, anything that you need basically to be successful on the ground. And then the out-of-pocket cost will be your personal travel expenses. Course expectations include attendance, participation, assignments. You'll have group work presentations due to your faculty member. And then you'll have, upon successful completion, you'll have 3 credits counted towards your degree program. For the partner-led programs, these are developed and run by a partner institution. So if you go on our website, you'll see a list of 20 partners. Some of them offer part-time or short-term programs. And those programs is what I advertise as partner-led programs. So they host it, they run the whole show, you're taught by their faculty, you take classes in their facilities, and then they grade you, and then I just transfer your credits in. There's no pre-travel virtual sessions. You get to meet everybody when you arrive on the ground, and then it ends when you leave. Let's see, these are quite... Okay, that's interesting. I have no idea where that sound is coming from. Okay. So, the ghost of Zoom. That's pretty creepy. Give me 1 second.
Concurrent sessions in there.
Okay.
Or choose the
Um,
speakers.
Okay, guys, just give me 1 second. I'm trying to see what is happening. Who hacked into my Zoom? Okay. I have no idea. Okay, I don't want to waste too much time on this, so hopefully that doesn't occur again. But if it's too much trouble, I'll just have to restart the Zoom. All right, so moving on. I can get back into my presentation. Uh-oh. Here we go. Okay, so partner-led programs, I think I covered everything in here, so let's move forward. Look at study abroad. So faculty-led programs, all graduate and undergraduate students at the school. These again count towards your general elective credits and all degree majors in school. So depending on, again, the availability of elective credits in your degree program, you'll be able to count the course in towards your degree completion. So where can you go? This year, here are the destinations that we have. You have your faculty-led programs, Morocco and Italy. You have a choice of a few partner-led programs as well that are all available on our website. You need to apply by October 2nd if you want to be considered for these programs. Again, make sure to complete your application by the 2nd. You will find out on the 13th, which is a Monday, if you got accepted, waitlisted, or denied for your program, the program of your choice. You'll have until October 19th to commit to your program, and then you can expect to travel depending on which program you're opting for, either over the January break or spring break. A few notes: you can apply of all programs of interest. There's no application fee. If you want to apply to all programs that are listed on the website, you can apply to all of them. If you want, you can rank them. Once you submit a second application, you'll be able to rank either your first option or your second option, however way you like. Admitted students can participate in multiple programs depending on when they're occurring. Obviously, you can't participate in like the IPADE program and the Audencia program because they occur at the same time and you can't split yourself. So you have to pick between them. All cost estimates are on the brochure. So if you're curious, you're like, you want a budget, you want to know, I have estimates for everything on the program brochures. So if you go to our website, I put the link up there, or you can scan the QR code to go directly to the website. You see the page right there. You can click on short-term away programs. That will lead you to this page. You'll have all of the listings for the year, entrepreneurship in emerging markets.
But if we do, we might get to that through probably like Argentina or.
Weird. Looks like the sound is connected to another room.
Able to read the sound on the system rather than just using.
The sound? What do you mean?
Whoever controls the screens, we can also mute the sound in that one right there. You see a volume button?
There's a volume button, but
You want to press it?
it will.
Or just decrease it down to just so it's not distracting.
Yeah.
It's not going to have it go away, but
Okay. Yeah. Hopefully that will work. Okay. So. Let's see. Make sure this works. All right, so you can click on any of the programs. They're highlighted, and they'll send you to the online brochure. And all of the brochure, I have the apply now button in pretty much any tab, so you can just hit that apply button, and then it will send you to the next screen. So all of these tabs are designed for you to have everything you need to apply for the program. I have eligibility, how logistics are going to work. Everything is on the brochure. So please remember to read over all the information that's provided to you, and then apply to the program of your choice. So under the program details tab, you'll see the eligibility, academic credit, and you'll also see a cost sheet. That's where you see all of the estimates for the program. I even estimated, how much flights cost, but again, that will vary depending on where you're flying out of, when you buy a ticket, and other factors. But I have it estimated as much as I can. This is what the next screen will look like. It's the GW Passport login page. You want to log in using your GW user ID and your regular GW password. Do not put your entire email in there because it will create a separate non-GW user account, and I'll have to delete it, and then you have to start over. You need to log in, and it's actually written on there how to log in. So make sure to use a user ID, or it will be net ID depending on when you join the university. All right, without further ado, I will introduce our first speaker. Professor Romy Bhatia is going to tell you all about the entrepreneurship in emerging markets, Morocco's ecosystem.
Thank you.
You have to point it towards
Point it there? Okay. If it stops operating.
Yeah. And I'm right here, so.
All right. Hi, everyone. Curious before I get started about Morocco. Any one of you in the audience been to Morocco? Yeah? Quick show of hands. 3. How many of you have been on the African continent? Okay, a few more. That's good.
A couple online too.
Oh, good. So those that have both to Morocco and Africa in general, love to hear your experiences, maybe during the Q&A. So this is the second year of this program. I'll tell you some fun facts about Morocco, but just the statistics, the top line. Northwest Africa on the continent, it's a country that is kind of at this nexus of Europe and Africa. So when you're at the Tangier port, a 45-minute ferry ride gets you to Spain. To get a sense of how close Morocco is to Europe. About 38 million people. The official languages are Arabic and Berber. The official religion is Islam. And so it's a very interesting place. You tend to also hear from languages. You'll hear Arabic, you'll hear Berber, but you'll also hear French. And now increasingly you'll hear more and more English as Morocco is continuing to increase its close ties to the US. So here's the first interesting fact most people don't know. It was the first country to recognize the United States back in 1777 when we gained our independence. I know the news has been a little bit crazy this year, but until the tariff war started, it was the only country in Africa to have a free trade agreement with the US. Now I think we've slapped some tariffs on Morocco, unfortunately, like we have in many places. Also an exporter of automobiles. And because a lot of the Saharan desert is there, a lot of solar, renewable energy, and EV vehicles that are being built for transport or for export to Europe are made in Morocco. It's a very big industry. With that, hydrogen vehicles, EVs, solar. And then in terms of places of, higher education and learning, the world's oldest university in Fez. So it's not a big country, so depends on how you plan your trip. You could, as last year's group, several people went out to the desert, several students went and visited Fez. Where we're headed is Casablanca, and then we're also going to Marrakesh. A little bit different than last year's group that went to Casablanca and Rabat, and I'll explain to you why. But essentially this course is about entrepreneurial ecosystems, and particularly in emerging markets. So while I teach this class and another one, I actually am in the Bay Area, in Silicon Valley. And so a lot of my experience is in entrepreneurial ecosystems. I currently work as a venture partner at a VC fund. And so you'll get to see and understand how startups are built, operated, particularly by African founders, and both the opportunities and challenges they face. So the program breakdown, you'll see it here. Those are some images of the Mohammed VI Polytechnic University in Ben Guerir, where again, the students last year didn't get to go. So last year what we did is we arrived in Casablanca, spent about 3.5 days there. The students had a chance to meet with a number of meetings, but venture capital firms, met with Moroccan founders, about 4 or 5 of them. We had a pitch session and then took the students to Rabat, which is where the government is. That's your Washington, D.C. equivalent. So to learn how policymaking and regulators are looking at supporting the growth of startups. It's quite interesting because if you look at the context of startups in DC, globally, about $314 billion was invested in startups. And I'm curious if any of you here would know how much of that money went into African founders by percentage. Anyone want to guess? Get a guess. 7? Too high. Anyone else want to guess? 2%. 1. So 1% of all startup funding was obtained by startups in Africa versus the rest of the world. So it doesn't mean there is only 1% of the talent and the ingenuity and the innovation that's happening on the continent, but you'll get to understand through the course why that's the case. And we'll look at different startup ecosystems. And yet by 2030, 1 out of every 4 people, 2050, I should say, 1 out of every 4 people on this planet is going to be on the African continent. So there's a huge wave of entrepreneurship, huge youth goals they keep talking about. Universities like UM6P are one of the premier African institutions of higher education that are trying to really foster this. So one of the reasons we're choosing them is because, while it's important to also meet with the regulators, which the students got to do, you'll be amazed at what you see here, this startup ecosystem. This is Startgate. That's where essentially students that are at the university come to build their startups, launch them. They've launched over 500. They actually have a venture capital, a VC firm located there. They have an energy park, one of Africa's largest data centers, a coding academy. And this is all encompassed in what is called the UN60 main campus, which again is about 45 minutes from Marrakesh. And so after spending about 2.5, 3 days in Casablanca, we'll head down to Marrakesh. We'll visit with students there, the faculty. What I did last year, it's a little bit of a preview for you guys. You'll get to do again, which is a pitch competition. So we'll have about 4 to 5 Moroccan founders pitch, and you will make up what is called an investment committee, an IC. And so through the hybrid classes, you'll learn in the fall, how do you evaluate, how do you assess startups? I'll give you kind of the framework and rubrics, and then you'll be in the position of having to decide, would you fund or invest in this kind of company? And that's what the students did. And that's what I aim to do, is to try to get you in a very short period of time to learn how tech startups operate, a little bit different than small and medium enterprises. These are companies being built to scale, how they're invested, what makes them difficult to operate in an emerging market on the continent of Africa, where startups in Silicon Valley or Boston or here in DC don't have to face some of those challenges. So those are some of the key highlights. Sorry, that's a little bit adjusted, but I teach using the case study method predominantly. So there's not a whole number of sessions, but there are 4 this fall, and you'll have case study assignments. So you'll learn hands-on kind of how we evaluate startups. And then when we come back, there's 4, including the one when we come back at the end of the trip. The trip dates are noted there. And let's see. I think just the main program highlights, as I was describing to you, any of you have any experience with a startup? Any of you maybe building a startup?
Or wanting to build a startup?
Or wanting to build a startup or on entrepreneurship? Yeah, innovation.
We're both part of the student forum, we'll start new at G&EE, where we help student entrepreneurs pitch an idea from scratch, having their prototype.
Yeah.
And people that already have businesses kind of polish up their business, so.
That's right.
Yeah.
So at that earliest stage, it's called an MVP, minimum viable product, where you're just trying to help the founder or founders build something that's viable to test. The startups we'll meet are a little bit beyond that, still early stage. They're still testing it in the market, evaluating it. But those are the ones that you'll get a chance to meet. And in terms of attracting venture capital funding, the 4 big markets on the African continent, Egypt, Nigeria, Kenya, and South Africa, predominantly get most of the money. So the reason I've chosen Morocco is to look at, on this continent, very dynamic continent, what are those up and coming countries like Cote d'Ivoire, like Morocco, that could be at the inflection point scaling up. And apart from that, it's just an amazing country with very hospitable people. You'll have some of the alumni from last year's program have a chance to share with you their own experience. Moroccans are incredibly hospitable. We had a wonderful time. All our meetings they were very gracious with us. The food that's tagine, cooked in a clay pot. The food is amazing. It's a middle income country in Africa, so it's relatively stable economically. You learn a lot about the economy and the macro level before we dive into the entrepreneurial aspects. And yeah, it's exciting. I'm a practitioner, and there's a little bit of my background. I'll end here because I know we're probably short on time. I've been in the international finance and development space for about 25 years, worked both for startup, worked for the DFC, that's Development Finance Corporation, spent time at USAID about 8 years. I ran an entrepreneurship center in Miami for about 3.5 years. I came back to work on this White House initiative to foster two-way trade and investment between Africa and the US, called Prosper Africa, which was dismantled amongst many things that went by the wayside this year. So I returned back to the private sector. As I mentioned, I joined the venture capital firm. So I spend my time looking at and investing in startups with our managing partner. We're actually raising our first fund. And in terms of my GW experience, I've been doing this since 2010. My career started in microfinance. For any of you that have an interest in or know about microfinance in Bangladesh, and I've lived and worked in about 35 countries. Done the CAP program. I'm teaching right now, co-teaching with my colleague Jesse Parati, external development finance. And this will be a course. And if you want to know more about my background, that's the link. And yeah, so I'll be gone tomorrow back to the Bay Area, but I'll be back for when the class starts. I'll leave it to you, Marie.
Yeah.
Because I know we're probably short on time.
Thank
And then
you.
we'll do questions at the
Yeah,
end.
what are questions at the end?
Perfect. Thank you. I hope you guys are interested.
Thank you, Romy.
Sure.
All right, great. So now let's move on to the next presentation of the day. Professor Narati is going to tell you about her program.
Okay, well, I must say, I went to Morocco last February and loved it.
Yes.
But what do you think about the Olympic Games? First words that come to your mind about Olympics. International, very global, okay?
Exciting.
Exciting, yes. A thrill of victory. Agony of
Huge.
huge, yes. One of the largest events in the world.
Along the same lines, like logistical nightmare.
And the Olympic Games are going to be one of the most challenging. These are the furthest distance between Milan and Cortina. For those of you that have somebody here, we looked this up, I think minimum of 4.5 hours, maybe 4, if you have no traffic and snow and everything else that comes along with winter and the county counts. So, yes, double staff for like, just think about the National Olympic Committees. They have all their athletes usually in one location where they're staffed. Now they have to double staff down in the city and up in the mountains. Quite the economic challenge as well. But these are all exciting parts. I'm playing the role today for this trip in February. Our students have the opportunity to be volunteers. You need to apply for that and get accepted and get a role. But you would get an outfit like this, plus they give you shoes, jackets, sweater, mittens, hats, socks, and you get
Lisa, sorry to interrupt. If you could move closer to the microphone so that the folks online can hear you too. Yeah, this one.
okay. All right, so let's go ahead and go to the next slide, please.
Okay.
Great, so the course is open to graduates as well as undergraduates. It is 3 credit hours and it's an intense 3 credits. All right, this is not, let's just go to the Olympic Games and watch some sports. It's, as I say, it's physically demanding. You're walking a lot. You're going to be not getting that much sleep because you're going to be working and also wanting to play at night. So I just want to make sure everybody understands that it's a physically demanding exercise because there's a few things that we do. Well, even before we go to Milan, we have a few classes where you're going to learn about the history, the terminology, organizational structure, the financing, and all of these things about the Olympic Games. So when we get to Milan and we meet the executives, you're not asking, oh, what's IOC? What's TOP? So you're having a educated conversation with the executives in, that we meet. We arrived in Milan February 6th. That means we have to depart February 5th. And we will start volunteering for the organizing committees, but in between your volunteering, we also meet with, as I said before, executives from the International Olympic Committees, the National Olympic Committees, International Federation, sponsors, local organizers, and we are also often get invited to see different, the media center or other venues. We never promise that we can see the Olympic Village or promise we to see the media village, because every Olympic Games is different and security is different. But we usually can work our way in those things, but I can't promise that. And we're staying in this hotel that's in Milan. It's 3 to a room, so you have a twin bed, 3 to a room, about 150 per night. And then you are on your own for the airfare. I can't believe how low the airfare is right now.
Yeah, it's currently pretty low.
Wow. Don't buy your air ticket yet until October 13th.
Yes.
When we tell you to come in. But I'm hoping they're staying until October 15th, so you can jump on the airfare. Seriously, I just looked last night, it's like $500. I'm like, wow. And then obviously Olympic tickets, this credential does not give you access to all events, okay? It'll get you into the venue where you're working, but it won't get you in to all the different activities and venues, but it gets you a lot of places that otherwise it would be difficult to get to. So that's why we like, besides getting the experience and being able to write it on your resume that you work the Olympic Games, and you see so much behind the scenes. It's just very helpful. You get free transportation in the city, and they do feed you like a lunch or dinner when you're working your shifts. Next, please. But any other tickets, you'll be on your own. I often hear about people having extra tickets, or I can't guarantee you that either. So if there's something you really want to see, you better get those tickets on your own. So I've covered already about meeting with different Olympic related representatives, you're volunteering, you attend, oftentimes we get invited to like an educational conference that's going on at the same time as the Olympic Games, and we can come and listen to like research around the Olympics. Already mentioned potential media center, Olympic Village, and the assignments that you're doing is each one of you would select the topic of your choice related to the Olympics. It could be transportation, it could be finance, it could be hospitality, it could be the look and design of the games. And then you write your paper on that, and the paper has to be 75% complete by the time we go. And all you're doing is putting the final touches on it about what everything you studied, was that accurate? What was unique or different? The reason why we do that is that when you come home, you're very tired, you have work to make up for the classes that you missed, and you all forget about the Olympics. The classwork, right? So I try to have you do it all before you leave, or as much as we can before you leave. So when you come back, you just have a few things to finish up. Winter is tough because it's during the semester. But most professors are very understanding. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity, but you do, I tell you, make the work up ahead of time. If something's due during the Olympic Games, don't think you're gonna have time to work on it while you're at the Olympic Games. Finish it, upload it, and be done with it. Okay? Word of warning. All right, next.
I think that's all you had. Yeah, just slides.
We'll learn more at the reception, but if you have any questions and if you have not yet received the link to where you can apply to be a volunteer, let me know and I'll give you that so you can get started on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Great. So thank you to our two faculty presenters. I'll quickly try to breeze through the partner-led programs, and then we'll open it up for questions. All right. So we have 4 partner-led programs. Again, these are only open to GWSP grad students. If you're a 4+1 student and you're going into your you're going to be like starting your +1 portion of your program, you will be eligible for these because you'll be a graduate student in the spring. So we have the first program in France. We have 2 programs in France, but they're in different cities. This one is in the city of Grenoble. It is known for skiing because there's a lot of snow. They in a kind of like a valley, so it's quite cold there. So if you're interested in skiing, you can perhaps tag a few days to your trip, and then you can go up to the mountains to snow. To ski. It's 1.5 credits. The dates are Monday, March 9th to Friday, March 15th, which is your GW spring break program or dates. You want to plan to arrive on Sunday, March 8th, which is the day before the program starts, because it starts Monday at 8 a.m. So you want to be there the night before to get oriented, check into your hotel, and then be ready to start the program bright and early. Some highlights for this program include a collaboration between Duke University, Fuqua Business School, UNC Chapel Hill, Keenan Flagler Business School, and ourselves. So each of these schools will nominate a few students, and then you'll be there. So you'll get to basically meet students from these institutions, graduate business students from these institutions. Some of the cool things about the program is that they have a serious game certificate. It's like the gamification of marketing. So you'll have a seminar where they'll introduce you to the topic. They have a really cool, innovative lab where they'll show you kind of how artificial intelligence works in terms of like they have like a mini grocery market. For example, when you grab items off the shelf, for example, they'll have an introduction to that. And you'll be able to also play around with the tools and that are available in their lab. All right, next program in France is in Nantes and in Paris. Audencia Business School has their main campus is in Nantes, but they have an executive campus in Paris. So they have you start in Paris first. You spend the first couple of days there, and then you take the train and then go down to Nantes, and then the rest of the program is in Nantes. So this program, the particularity, oopsie. So in terms of the dates, you want to arrive on maybe Sunday morning. Most of the flights arrive Sunday morning. They typically have a cultural activity to greet you. So they'll have either a welcome dinner. Sometimes they have a tour of Paris on the river. So you'll go down the La Seine, which is the main river there. So that's always cool to do as an activity if time allows. So you may want to ride even on a Saturday. That way you can do that on a Sunday and then be ready on Monday to kick off the program. Program ends on the Saturday. They'll have a few cultural activities, and then you can leave anytime after, probably in the afternoon on that Saturday. Some of the highlights, these are taught by 3 Audencia faculty leaders. They have expertise in different areas. Many of them will talk about corporate social responsibility from the perspective of HR, from the perspective of the law and other lenses. You'll have a few company visits. In the past, students have visited Cointreau. They're a partner of Audencia, so it's likely that you'll be able to visit their manufactory in Nantes, Coca-Cola HQ, City, and Nature Découverte. This is also like a partner program. So there's going to be other students from other universities, Yonsei University, Stellenbosch, and I think there's another one. Oh yes, HEC in Canada. So you'll basically, again, be able to network with a few other students from other schools. Third program is in Mexico City. IPADE has 2 campuses. This program will occur on the Mexico City campus. It is going to kick off on the Monday, again, bright and early. So you probably want to arrive on a Sunday, check in your hotel, get settled, and it ends on Friday. So that's when they'll have the last activity. So you can depart as early as Sunday morning if you don't want to spend additional time in Mexico City. Some of the highlights include, this is probably one of the bigger programs because there are, let me go back. Last time I was there were about 250 students total. Half of that were the MBA cohort of IPADE because they're required to attend the International Week. And then they had students coming in from all over. So GW had a cohort of 10, UNC sent 11 students there, and then a lot of other business schools throughout the US, throughout Canada, and around the world. So there's 250 students total. It was quite the sight. They use the case study method, so you'll be able to really look at actual businesses, and see how they sort of interact and what are their the issues and challenges and opportunities they face in the country. So again, really cool program, especially if you want to expand your network and if you're interested in emerging markets in terms of the business arena. And last but not least, our program in Denmark with Copenhagen Business School. This year, they're actually offering 3 programs, which occur at different dates. So you have some choice there depending on your schedule. They have the ESG, I forget the name of the first one, Transformational Finance. That's going to overlap with schedule of courses. So schedule of classes. So I'm only opening that to online students. The second one is over the spring break, so anybody can apply. And then the last one is early May. So if you know, depending on, you can check the syllabus for all of your spring classes. If most of your classes end April 29th, or whatever the last day of the semester is, and you don't have any finals during that time, you basically be able to attend that week in May. So this program is typically pretty popular and pretty competitive because I only have 5 spots per track. So again, depending on your level of interest, if you're interested in sustainability, it is one of the stronger programs, but do note that I only have a few spots available. And the reason why I have 5 spots is that there are 7 business schools involved in the program. Everybody nominates 5 students, so you're going to be in a cohort with students from, let's see, Michigan Ross, Columbia Business School, they were just added, Fuqua, UNC, Kenan Flagler, Texas, ourselves, and Kellogg. Kellogg's the last one. They're going to be taught by CBS faculty. You'll have a mix of guest lectures and company visits, and you'll have the opportunity to basically learn the unique features of Scandinavian or Nordic economy and business life. All right, so that brings us to the end of sort of the presentation on the programs that we're offering. So now just some quick tips on sort of what to focus on in your application. You want to take your time on that statement of purpose, because that's where you differentiate yourself from other candidates. You want to tell us why this program in particular is of interest of you, how it is a unique opportunity. You don't have to, please don't write 10 pages. It just has to be 500-700 words. I have a few prompts in there to help guide your train of thought, but you can follow them. You don't have to follow them in general. They're just guiding questions. You want to review the cost estimates, because these programs do come with additional cost. For our faculty-led program, I've done my best to estimate the program fee that will be charged. That will include the cost of lodging. For the Milan program, I know for sure, because we already signed that contract is set. For the Morocco program, I just sent out vendor bids. So depending on what they come back with, it could be a little lower or slightly higher than that. But again, we'll do our best to keep it as low as we possibly can. You want to own your schedule. All of your decisions will be released before the schedule, before registration opens for the spring. So you'll be able to see when of your what classes you'll be taking, for example, especially if you're interested in the Milan program, you're going to be missing a few classes, and you can already start structuring your schedule for the spring semester. You want to research the entry requirements for a destination. Especially if you're an international student, you want to know what your entry requirements are for the specific destination. If you need to apply for a visa, how long it takes, what documents you need, and make sure that you have everything prepared so that as soon as you get the green light from us, you can go ahead and make your appointment and get your documents together. And then if available to you, if you have time, if you have the means to, or if you have a few friends, perhaps, or family in the country, please do, try to arrive early or stay a little later so you get to really experience the country. You can't do that for Milan, because, especially if you're taking other classes. But if that's your only class, for example, if it's your final semester, then yeah, you can stay in Italy for a little while longer. But that is a quick note, because during these programs, they're quite intense, so you won't have a lot of free time to explore on your own. All right, so all applications are online system. You have access to it as a student. You can apply to all programs of interest. Again, you can rank your application. The application will close October 2nd at 11:59. Students tend to wait until the very last minute to submit their application, and the system crashes, and then everybody panics. Email me at midnight. I don't work until midnight. So if you can reach me before 5:30, I'll be able to help. But start your application now. Submit it early is my advice. If you have any questions, I'll have a few open office hours that you can join to get all your questions answered ahead of the deadline. Decision will be shared on Monday, October 13th. So that day you'll get a ripple of emails from me. If you apply for 5 programs, you're going to get 5 different emails on the decision for each of your program. And then you'll have the same deadline to commit to the program of your choice. Committing means that you'll have to deposit $350 towards the spring semester. You do that on your e-bill. So you just do a deposit. And then that basically signals to me that you are ready and committed to the program. And then that's when I count you as committed. All right, some final steps. You want to ensure that you have your travel documents ready. So passport, your passport needs to be 6 months. Your travel can't be 6 months within your expiration date, whatever that is. So if your passport is expiring soon, you want to make sure to get that renewed. It does take a little long to renew, so you probably want to start that now. If you want to do the January program, even February, you want to start now. And then, of course, communicate any needs. If you have questions, concerns, any kind, we are your first stop. Come to us, and then we'll, guide you in any direction depending on the nature of the question. A few upcoming group advising sessions that I have. So on Tuesdays, I'll have a special focus group on faculty-led programs. So that's what I'll mainly be talking about. So these are online. You can join at any time during the session. It's about 45 minutes long. And I'll kind of be deep diving into the faculty-led programs, or on Wednesdays, I'll be deep diving into the partner-led programs. But if, you know, if you have questions, either or join, it's gonna be the same person. So I'll be able to answer any questions. But again, it's a space for you to come ask those questions. And then if there's specific aspects of about a specific program that you want to learn more about, these are the spaces that you want to come to. And also these are on the brochures. So you'll see if you go under events, you'll be able to click on the link to access. All right, and then last but not least, you can reach out at spintl@gw.edu. That's our main email. Follow us on Instagram and on LinkedIn. We always post deadlines, reminders. But if you have additional opportunities, we'll also post it on there. So give us a follow if you want to learn more. And then on that note, that brings us to the end of our presentation. Oh, I did well this year. So I'm going to open it up for questions. So at this time, if you have any questions for our faculty leader, specifically here, they're here to answer any of your questions. If you have any questions for me, we are all ears and all open.
You guys excited about Morocco and Italy? I hope so.
Yeah, I'm actually excited about both.
Okay, good.
But quick question on the Morocco trip. So you mentioned the Olympic volunteer form. Would you suggest doing that after you've been accepted? Or
No, because you're gonna cut it off, so you can always not accept it, but
okay,
I want you to do it as soon as possible, because they can kind of only get my people in now.
okay, okay,
So I can email that to you.
okay,
Come up.
great. So thank you.
Mhm.
Previously for the Milan trip, you said that we could potentially stay later than February 17th. Is that still?
Yes, if you're online, or if your faculty are fine with you doing them, I'm not. It's up to you, to manage your own schedule, right? But we will not be doing any structured activity. They walk the mountain. Whatever you want. If you are
In that same hotel?
or you could go find your own. You know, a less expensive one. Or I'm sure they'd be happy to help you stay. Somebody that you can book your own. We also have a lot of that are staying.
About how many people are?
It's 24 students.
24 limit. Actually, both programs, the limit is 24. So you can take up to 24 students.
And then, you know, this is the 16th Olympic, familiar with the Olympic space and how things run.
There's sometimes a volunteer rules that students are common.
Some of you, I mean, a lot of it is wayfinding, right, or access control, so you'll be standing and letting people, checking their credential or letting them in. A couple of our students who have hockey experience got actually timing, so you have the timing role, pretty cool. Others, I don't remember some of the others. What did you get? Did you get mine yet?
I sent you an email about it, but I remember it was name or
But you accepted it, though, right? You have to accept it within 15 days. We also, I don't want to confuse the issue here, but the IOC, we also used to conduct research for the IOC and still do, but for those, I've asked our students, I've asked the person scheduling our volunteers to put us inside venues, so we can also take pictures of meeting area. How many athletes is within these. And then on top of all that, we also have, there's an ice house. This is new for these Olympic Games. So it's the speed skating, figure skating, and hockey federation.
I have a question for you in the Zoom here. Aaron, he asked, what is the typical in-person class schedule for the Milan Winter Olympics opportunity?
Typical class session. Okay. So for those who are not scheduled to work, and we'll have your schedule, let's just say you wake up at 8, have breakfast, we get to where we're going to have a lecture by 9:30 or 10. We have a couple lectures, we have some time for break, we probably have another lecture, then you're free to go and enjoy whatever events that you want to, or just the city. So it's a packed schedule.
Pretty packed.
So
In terms of like the schedule, you want to tell students about like what time of the day they can expect to work?
I said you're going to be pretty much busy from 8 to midnight, maybe, because your shifts are about 6 hours. Plus, you're going to have to get there a little bit early, so you're busy. And then when you're not in those shifts, then we have things for you to do. We don't book any nighttime activities except for, at night, and some of those shifts don't end till 11 o'clock. So, as I said, it's a pretty grueling activity, but it goes fast. It's exciting. All those words that you said before, you're in the midst of it, and so, but just don't think that you're just going to have leisure time to hang out and sip coffee and
It's not that type of experience. Well, thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you, Romy. The conversation continues. Please head to the 5th floor for the reception. And again, our alums are there. You can talk to Mattel here. He's been to Argentina over the summer. If you want to hear his thoughts on participating on a program like this. And then, of course, come to me if you have any additional questions. Thank you guys so much for coming. And again, you know me, so feel free to reach out.
that's why I